I never imagined I'd be the one telling this story. Even now, part of me wants to stop, to keep it buried, untouched, where it's felt safest. He stayed close behind me as I stepped through the doorway. I hadn't said a word. The lights were already on, music low, a jacket slung over the arm of the sofa. But it wasn't ours. I turned to ask, but he only offered a small, unreadable smile. And then I noticed we weren't alone. Before we go on, hit like and subscribe. It really does help me share these moments. Let's begin. He walked beside me as we reached the top step. The porch light caught soft glints on the blazer he'd loaned me. My heels hung from 2 fingers, tapping gently together. I let out a quiet laugh. The breeze swept strands of hair across my face. But I barely noticed. We were still coasting from dinner, full plates, long conversations, and that painfully awkward toast that had frozen the table before laughter melted everything. You talked more than I did, I teased, nudging him as he searched for the keys. He gasped, playful, only because you wouldn't stop making faces while I was thanking everyone. I tilted my head, smiling. The lock clicked. I stepped forward. He was still close behind. Inside, the air was cooler. Dim golden lights glowed from the living room. A soft instrumental played. Barely audible, just enough to give me pause. I slowed. Something felt already in motion. I glanced back. He still hadn't spoken, his face unreadable. And then I saw him. A man already sitting on our couch. He was relaxed, one leg resting over the other, sleeves rolled to just above the wrist, a watch catching the light, one hand near a drink he hadn't yet touched. His gaze found mine instantly. He didn't speak. Behind me, my husband leaned in, his voice low. "He asked about you earlier," he murmured. "I figured maybe it made more sense for him to meet you himself." I didn't answer. Not right away. Instead, I looked at the man I'd just walked home with, the one who hadn't let go of my hand since we left the restaurant. He held my gaze, no pressure. I gave a small nod, then walked in. The guest's hand rested near my knee, calm, steady, like an invitation, not a request. I let my fingers brush his, then withdrew. Not a rejection, more like leaving a space open. My husband's hand moved lightly across my back. A gentle check-in. "You still here?" I was. Completely. The guest leaned in slightly. His voice was low. Something about how the air felt different. I didn't answer. I was paying attention to the way his thumb moved. Not rushed, just present. Then he brushed a strand of hair from my face, made a small gesture I almost missed. I didn't pull away. I stayed still. When he kissed me, it was soft, quiet, like a conversation with no words. My husband's hand stayed at my back. He didn't move, but I felt him, anchoring me. I sat down beside the guest. His hand hovered near, unsure. My husband remained close behind. Still, none of us said a word. She leaned back slightly, her eyes locked with mine again. There was calm in them, certainty. I placed my glass on the table, reached out, tucked a strand of her hair behind her ear. Her gaze lingered. I leaned in. The kiss was gentle, knowing. When she turned to her husband, she looked grounded. He exhaled slowly, then stepped forward and wrapped his arms lightly around her. Her hands found the center of his chest, resting steady on his breath. She reached for his hand and placed it softly near my side. Deliberate, inviting. She didn't say anything. She didn't have to. Everything after moved slowly. No rush, no question. My breath synced with theirs. One guided me down. The other steadied me. Soft rug beneath. Warm light above. I didn't close my eyes. I wanted to see. The guest's hand moved to my waist, then paused, present. My husband knelt beside me, his touch brushing my side. I leaned toward him. Forehead to forehead, breaths stuttered, then synced. When I closed my eyes, it wasn't out of hesitation, but stillness. He tucked a hand to my cheek. I drew it to my chest, so he could feel how grounded I was. One body curved near my back, the other at my front. I held them both, not to cling but to remain. They stayed with me, near. At one point, I rose slightly, drawn by something unnamed. My hands gripped theirs. I stayed present. My husband's voice reached my ear, soft and clear. This moment is yours. And in the silence that followed, I felt everything. Warmth, stillness, the weight of being fully seen. Would you have stayed in that moment? Or would you have stepped away? Tell me honestly, what would you have done? Leave a comment. I'm always reading. And if you haven't yet, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. You don't want to miss what's coming next.